In honor of Earth Day, Councilman and Majority Leader Keith Powers has reintroduced legislation that would make it easier for New Yorkers in all community districts to drop off both organics for composting and electronics for recycling.
Sure, the Core Act is meant to provide community recycling in every single community district in New York City. What we've seen during the pandemic is that the curbside residential composting program is one of the first things that gets slashed when we talk about budget cuts. So rather than as we fight for that, as we fight to restore that, we also want to make sure that every New Yorker has within walking distance in their community a place where they can go and drop off organics. During the pandemic, as curbside residential composting got cut, I and my colleagues really went to fight for local programs and places where you could go drop off organics. We did one in Dagenham School Plaza. We did one at St. Farn's Park. We did one inside of Stuyvesant Town. We created all these community drop-off places where people could just walk and make sure they could still drop it off. It's a lot cheaper than the curbside composting program. Not necessarily a replacement for it, but it does make it easier and accessible for people to want to compost. The R in the Core Act is about recycling and making sure that whether it's textiles or regular recycling that we think about or electronic recycling, there are also community-run spots to do that as well, because we find out, as you mentioned, that a lot of New Yorkers looking for where do I put my TV, or what do I do with this laptop, or what do I do with these things that I don't know what to do with. And the R in the Core Act actually is to create community recycling places where people could drop off any type of material they need to recycle, do it in an easy and accessible fashion, and make sure that no matter what happens with budgets or budget cuts, that those are still available to them.